The 7th of January 2022, the day that I sat there for 4 hours and did absolutely nothing but watch the Hype House show on Netflix. Yeah, I'm not exactly proud of myself either. Look, we reacted to the trailer about a month ago and I asked you guys if you wanted to see me make a video about it. It seemed like you did want to see me make a video about it, so I thought, fuck it. Instead of just reacting to like one episode, let's react to all 8 episodes. And this video is going to basically be my rundown episode by episode. Now, obviously, there's only a limited amount of footage I can actually show because it is Netflix and they will take my video down in an instant. But you know, the more and more I watch this series, my thoughts on certain people and certain things that happen in the series actually change throughout. So let me just go through my emotions episode by episode. So episode 1 starts off by introducing all the Hype House members, which was when I quickly realized that I have absolutely no idea who was in the Hype House anymore.
We just posted a video on an app. Now I'm living in a mansion.
Like, I'm sorry, but I just don't have a clue. They start talking about how easy it is to get cancelled online, and Nikita Dragon herself actually says that one wrong move can make everything crumble.
And one wrong move can make everything crumble.
Which is quite ironic because Nikita's definitely done more than one wrong move. They then try to make a TikTok house sound like it was this rare creation that nobody has heard of, as if there isn't hundreds of other TikTok houses in the world.
We have 10, 20-year-olds living in a $5 million house together, filming content all day, and it just doesn't sound real.
Ah, yeah, to be fair, I've never heard of that before. Now, one bit that actually made me laugh is that they introduce each person normally. Everyone got about the exact same amount of screen time, kind of. But then Little Hoodie walks through and he's getting treated like he's Elton John. Like, if you're just looking at this scene right now, you would never suspect that Little Hoodie is just somebody who throws it back on TikTok now and then, would you? Now, even though I was quite impressed throughout the series of how kind of unscripted it felt, there was definitely quite a lot of scripted scenes throughout that just felt very, very forced. Hey, yes, nice to see you, mate. It's not like we just spoke to each other about 2 minutes before that while I was setting up the cameras or anything. Now, I've got to be honest, the entirety of episode 1 is more or less just showing the people, introducing them, and mainly showing how rich they are. And can we also talk about how no one needs a house this big? It's got a swimming pool, it's got foosball tables, it's even got a fucking basketball court. But this is where we get our first piece of drama because Little Hoodie, get this, moved out.
They were like mad or whatever, like disappointed that like you just moved out.
I've got to be honest, when they did say this, I nearly turned off the show because I was so angry, but I managed to contain myself. But this is actually a piece of drama that lasts pretty much the full series, and it starts off with them having a party and talking about how they don't want to invite Chase and Ryland.
Do we want to invite Ryland and Chase?
Yes. No. Yes.
And then even though I can't show this, there is about a good 3-minute section of them just slating Little Hoodie. And the main reason behind this is because I need to stop saying Little Hoodie. His name's Chase, okay? Like, I'm only 23, but I feel so fucking old when I say Little Hoodie. Jesus Christ. But they're basically angry at Chase because he's one of the main people in the business and he's not working on the business and hasn't posted TikToks for like 6 months.
He made one TikTok over the last 6 months.
And the reason why this is important is because the videos they post on the Hype House account pay for the rent in the Hype House and Chase's house.
You do the content, your house will get paid for. We can do like a Hype House too. This will be great.
So basically they're mad that Chase is doing no work and he's getting his rent paid for him in this mega mansion. And just like we had the Elton John-like appearance earlier in the series, we then got introduced to Nikita Dragon, who they then try and make seem like the Beyonce of online world.
I just really need something that just says
Rich.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, very humble as ever, Nikita. And this is where we're kind of first introduced into Alex Warren and Corva's relationship, which I've got to be honest are probably 2 of the most likable people throughout the series. It has got to be said, though, they do show how tough their lives can be, and my god, do they have to make tough decisions.
Want to take the Rolls Royce or the G-Wagon?
I want to take the G-Wagon.
Rolls Royce it is.
Ah, not the Rolls Royce. I wanted the G-Wagon, for God's sake. And then all of a sudden we're introduced to Larry, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. I feel like they use both names throughout it. But Larry is introduced by spitting mouthwash into the garden.
Ew.
And then finally, after bringing it up all episode, Thomas and Chase finally have that chat.
My problem with this is that the unappreciativeness.
Now, I have got to be honest, this is one of about 47 different chats that these two have about pretty much the exact same thing. But that's where episode 1 ends, and we then move on to episode 2. And yet again, it just starts off with everyone just slating Chase, more specifically Thomas's girlfriend, Mia.
I don't even know how you could do that to one of your friends.
And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any bigger, Chase then organizes a dinner, and get this, doesn't invite Thomas.
I feel like it was kind of weird that Chase didn't invite Thomas.
I've never felt heartbreak like it, quite frankly. And then this is where we're introduced into our first relationship drama, and it's a pretty serious one, okay? Corva and Alex share a bedroom, and Corva isn't happy that Alex's desk is taking up too much room in the bedroom. I know, fucking mental.
And I don't think you sound like an asshole, I think you're rude.
Probably not the best thing to say, to be honest, is it? They then have a segment all about cancel culture, which actually, to be fair, does make you feel sorry for some of the people involved, but then you quickly get reminded why some of the backlash actually happens in the first place.
I threw Larry his 21st birthday party. It definitely wasn't COVID safe.
God, how dare they cancel you over nothing, Nikita. Now, throughout the series, Mia, who is Thomas's girlfriend, does come across a little bit moany at times, but to be fair, it is justified at times as well. Like, they show the mess around the house and the fact that nobody cleans up after themselves and whatnot. Like, yeah, it's kind of justified.
Why are people not capable of cleaning up after themselves? I'm like super confused.
But then she also gets annoyed at things like Alex Warren filming around the house as if they literally don't live in a mega mansion rent-free as long as they film.
And it's like, do you need to film everything?
Yeah, that's kind of the job, I can't lie. And then we get one of the most interesting pieces of drama throughout the series because it was just something I just wasn't aware of. And it's that Nikita gets a call from her manager being told that Laray's team are trying to blame Nikita for Laray going to a party when he's tested positive for COVID.
Like somehow force Larry to come knowing he had COVID.
And then it turns out Nikita didn't really have anything to do with it. Laray literally tested positive for COVID and still showed up to a party, which actually shut down the production of the show for 2 weeks. And that's when we get to episode 3, which literally does start off with a statement saying it's been 2 weeks since they filmed because Laray just decided to be an idiot. And this is where they do confirm that Laray went to this party whilst he was positive, got another bunch of people positive, and yet again Mia is quite angry, but let's be honest, it's justified.
Everyone thinks that he's so perfect, and I'm like, he's just a f***ing liar.
And then somehow, throughout all of this, Laray is just more pissed off that Nikita is ghosting him because of this.
Nikita, I think she's upset about something. I really don't know why.
Like, it's your own fucking fault, pal. He just basically plays the victim throughout the whole situation, and even says things like, ghosting is my biggest pet peeve. As if that's the real problem here. And then yet again, Chase and Thomas have one of their many conversations where Thomas basically just says, you're a bit of a lazy bastard.
He acts like it'd be difficult to throw up a post with Ryland or Nick. It would take 30 seconds. He's just too lazy to do it.
And this basically just results in Chase saying, okay, right, don't pay for my rent anymore, I'll just do it myself, which I feel like is fair enough. But I've got to be honest, I did actually come into this show having certain opinions on certain people, okay? And Thomas was someone I already kind of had an opinion of, mainly because of a piece of drama we've seen in the past with Thomas where he hasn't really came across that well. But I've got to be honest, throughout this whole series, if there's one person I do feel sorry for, it's Thomas Petru. It just becomes very clear that Thomas is the only person who really cares about the business itself, and even though he's trying to help everybody out, and he is helping everybody out, nobody really wants to help him out. And by that, I basically mean that no one wants to actually work, even though Thomas is putting all this stuff in place. It's actually paying for everybody's rent, so everyone's living rent-free, and they still don't want to post one video on TikTok a month. Basically, because the house is ran by Bang Energy, they just have to do one post each a month with Bang Energy, and some people can't do that. But after like half an episode, Lorraine Nikita basically meet up after a bit of an argument, and to be fair, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Nikita was right the whole way through the conversation.
I just don't know how you're making this about yourself, for real.
Yeah, it's a very strange sight seeing Nikita in the right, I can't lie. But now we're on to episode 4, about halfway through the series. And it actually starts off with Nikita talking about her Trisha Paytas drama, which is when I realised that, yes, MARKIE is definitely going to make a video on this, isn't he? They're basically talking about drama they had on Twitter, because Trisha Paytas was trying to put Nikita down for having a reality show on Snapchat, to which Nikita is saying that's funny because I'm currently running a Netflix show. Now, it does have to be said, throughout this whole little section, Nikita is just blatantly using her phone while driving. Yeah, probably don't want to keep that in the Netflix show. And then yet again, folks, we have more relationship drama. Alex Warner's trying to find ways to up the views on his channel, so he decides to do a bit of a fake wedding.
Will you fake marry me for 24 hours?
Now, it's not a fake wedding in the sense of like Jake Paul and Tanner where they try and make it seem real. It's an obvious fake wedding, it's a bit in a vlog, but Culver isn't happy because she actually wants to get married.
Alex having the fake wedding makes me feel a little hurt.
Then Culver goes on to say that they're just kind of on different parts of their life, and Culver's almost grew up a little bit quicker.
And so he just like is still in his childhood phase. I'm ready to like take that step because I had to grow up really fast.
Which I get, I mean, that's how you feel, but Alex Warren is 20 years old. I mean, you can't really shut him down for not wanting to get married just yet, right? Now, one person we haven't mentioned yet is Vinny Hacker, who is someone in the Hype House, but I've got to be honest, the only thing I really took from Vinny throughout the whole series is that he doesn't really fit the Hype House. Like, he just wants to sit in his room and stream video games on Twitch, and the other people in the house, like Michael, just want to put him down because of that.
And then I didn't ask you again because you have the worst attitude with everything. Your energy is so off. and it seems like you don't want to be here.
Yeah, this Michael guy definitely came across as one of the most unlikable people throughout the series, to be honest. Like, Vinny does do content, quite clearly. He streams for multiple hours every single day. It's just not the content that Michael wants him to do. Like, it's not your life, mate. And this is where the commentary channels come into this, because Lorraine is then called out in a video by Anna Oop, and they speak about it in the show.
I know you saw the Anna Oop video where they basically said Lorraine's career is over in seconds.
And the main point they take away from this is that they're concerned that Lorraine is friends with Nikita Dragun, even though Nikita Dragun has been accused of blackfishing many times in the past.
Nikita has been accused of blackfishing multiple times.
Now, they do come back to this later in the episode, but first they show the fake wedding where Covert is still not very happy about the situation.
It just hurts, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
But either way, they still disagree, and spoiler alert, they pretty much disagree on this throughout the whole series. And now we have Lorraine and Nikita's conversation where Lorraine, to be fair to him, just tells Nikita straight and says, if you don't fix this, I'm out, basically.
This is one thing that, like, I can't defend you on this one. You're all on your own type shit.
Now, Nikita does say sorry, but as you can probably imagine, just instantly brings it back to her and almost plays victim a little bit.
It's another person trying to like expose me. It's another person making like fake tweets or whatever.
Yeah, these two were really made to be friends, weren't they? They're just as problematic as each other.
I felt gaslighted.
And then we moved on to episode 5. Now, this episode did have an interesting start because the word pussy is said more than I've ever heard in the space of 2 minutes in my life.
Pussy stunting.
Showing my pussy? Pussy stunting.
Pussy stunting. Pussy stunting. Pussy stunting. Pussy stunter. Pussy stunt. Pussy stunt.
Just like one of these days, I'm gonna come into the kitchen.
Full pussy stunt.
Pussy stunt.
Yeah, I reckon we can probably stop saying it now, guys. And then yet again, it becomes a clear example of how Thomas is trying to keep this business together and other people in the hype house just really aren't interested.
You have to do 1 video a month, that's it. To live in a mansion.
And I mean, this group of people specifically that I don't really know the names of don't really seem to do much. It has to be said. Like, they're basically the prime example of when people say that TikTokers have an easy life. Like, you look straight towards these guys. Now, at this point in episode 5, Alex goes on to talk about his past, about his dad's passing, about his mum having an addiction to alcohol. And you really get to see why Alex isn't exactly ready for marriage and kids and everything just yet, because he didn't really have a childhood himself and is almost trying to relive it now. And like I said, he comes across really well throughout the series. He pays for his brother's rent. He paid for his sister's tuition. He just seems like an all-round good guy. But then even though we're seeing that Alex is such a good guy, he then manages to get his friend to have death threats.
Last night, Natty was crying because she was getting death threats. It's like,
Which does sound bad, but it's not his fault. In fact, it's one of the most stupid pieces of drama I think I've ever heard of. So Alex did a prank on his channel where one of his mates thought that he was being cheated on by his girlfriend, but it turns out that the girl in question was actually his girlfriend's twin sister. So it was a nice harmless prank, okay? He found out very quickly that it was just a joke and all that stuff, okay? But it turns out that the girl who was actually part of the prank ended up getting a bunch of death threats because of this. Now, straight away, I thought this was because people thought that the prank was too harsh, but it turns out it was all because she kissed Vinny Hacker.
A lot of fans, they were very jealous and upset with this girl kissing Vinny.
Yeah, that is the most stupid shit I've ever seen in my life. And then the rest of his episode is basically just talking about how crazy Vinny's fans are and how every time he's seen with a girl, they research the girl to find anything bad they can say about her.
They'd go into that person's past life, look at everything about them.
Isn't that lovely? Oh yeah, I nearly missed a part where Alex actually broke his foot at the skate park and then they spent a good 2 minutes trying to work out exactly which way his ankle bent. And then that brings us over to episode 6. Now, the start of episode 6 was a bit weird. It started off with Thomas reminiscing over the memories he's had with Chase. You know he's still alive, right? And then it cuts to Lorraine's house, who has quite possibly the worst dog gate I've ever seen in my life. I mean, what the fuck is that gonna stop? But it's been clear throughout this whole series that the hype house is starting to fall apart a little bit. There's multiple houses, people are separating, a lot of people don't speak to each other anymore. So Thomas makes it his mission to bring everyone back together by making them sleep in a trailer.
There's trailers.
Oh, lovely.
Now, they do go on that trip later in the episode, but before that, we get to see a bunch of lads in the hot tub talking about girls.
I've been on my single boy.
Yeah, this is exactly how I thought their conversations would go. But then we hear about how Ryland was actually kicked out of the hype house because he had a drunk argument with Mia, who is Thomas's girlfriend.
I just went the f off.
And now this trip is the first time that Ryland got to spend time with Mia and Thomas and a bunch of other people since this big argument. Now, I've got to be honest, this Ryland guy is also somebody who didn't really come across well in the series. He just seems like your stereotypical, like, lad who doesn't really care about people and just wants to get on the booze. Which made it very apparent to me why the two groups just don't get along. They were so different. You've got like the family-friendly like couple group, and then you've got like the lads who like their beer on the other side. Like, it's not exactly a good mesh, is it? Now, they get to the place they're staying at, and I've got to be honest, actually looks like a good place to go. But of course, if there's one person that you thought would be a bit disappointed with the place, it would be Nikita Dragun.
is this?
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. And yet again, there's a big divide between the two groups. You've got the coupley, more family-friendly side of the group, all set out, trying to have a good time, make the most out of this place. And by the way, Thomas paid for the full trip, apparently. And then you've got, like, the land lads who just sat in the trailer drinking, watching a bunch of movies. Like, come on, mate. Have a bit of fun. And this, folks, is where we get a bunch more drama. Hey, it really is your standard reality show, isn't it? So Lorraine and Mia start arguing back and forth, and to be fair, it's kind of getting a bit heated.
We had this conversation with the whole house about no one doing
What? No one's even talking about that. Why are you upset for no reason?
Don't be rude.
And then Thomas, who yet again I kind of felt sorry for throughout this, is just trying to speak his mind and trying to like get people to get more involved with the company, and Lorraine's just quite frankly rude.
So that's why I get so stressed about it.
I literally lost 10 brain cells from this conversation.
Wow, that's rude.
Yeah, I'm starting to really feel sorry for this guy. And then after this, Thomas then goes and sits in the trailer and is starting to get very emotional, and then the episode ends and we get to episode 7. Now, whilst this drama's all going on, the lads don't really know what's happening, and to be honest, I don't think they know much. Like, it really does sound like they're losing brain cells when they speak.
I found you in your trailer. Watching Ratatouille.
Eating pizza.
Thomas is then shown being very emotional and talks about how this kind of comes from the abandonment from his parents when he was younger because they divorced and moved on with separate families, and he was almost just left by himself. And then something that really isn't that surprising, but it is still quite sad to see, is that Thomas goes on to explain how like Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Lorraine, and Ivani, and a bunch of other people don't even really speak to him anymore after he did quite a lot for them.
Look at Larry, Charlie, Dixie, Addison, Ivani. I just wish that they ever talked to me.
But you've got to remember, as this is all happening, Mia and Lorraine have just had this big argument, okay? They're not speaking at the minute, there's a bunch of tension, they're building up this big face-to-face confrontation, it might get a bit violent, and then all of a sudden, they handle it quite maturely. I mean, didn't see that coming. Now, at this point in the series, Alex actually goes to visit his dad's grave that he hasn't been to for quite a while. You see all the emotions start to come back to him because there's a lot of trauma there. His dad passed away, his mother was an alcoholic, and there was a lot of abuse that was in the family. Like, the guy has been through a lot, and I actually went to his channel after I saw this episode, and I saw that he actually makes music, and by the way, a fucking good singer. But also the music that he writes is very heartfelt, and he's basically just telling his life story, and it's actually really fucking sad to hear. And yeah, I came away from this really liking Alex Warren, I can't lie. But then we get brought back to Thomas, who is questioning if the Hype House team gonna work, and then also says that it might be time to end it.
I think it's just time to shut it down.
And that's where we get to episode 8, folks, the final episode. This is where they start to really tease the fact that the Hype House is gonna come to an end. I mean, it literally starts off with Thomas saying, maybe everyone was right, maybe the Hype House isn't gonna work after all.
After a year and a half, maybe they were right.
Got to say, they made this as dramatic as possible, considering it is literally just a YouTube group kind of ending. It's not the end of the world. Oh yeah, and then there's a random part where they talk about how Miley Cyrus slid into Vinny's DMs and asked to go to prom with him, which was a bit random.
Vinny, you should take Miley Cyrus.
She just randomly out of nowhere said, should we go to prom together? I'm not even high school.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus, if you are watching, my DMs are open as well. Like, you might have thought that I might ignore you or something. I just want to let you know. I won't. We can have a conversation. Please. Oh, and this is where we probably had one of the most sad moments of the entire show, where Chase Hudson leaves the Hype House.
That's why I don't know if it makes sense just for me anymore to like be a part of the business.
Oh, my day is ruined. And then we're getting to the end of the series where they host their own prom because a bunch of people in the Hype House didn't actually get to celebrate their prom. And it's at this point where Thomas says this is going to be the night where he announces that the Hype House is ending.
I feel like everyone together is the perfect opportunity for me to tell them I've been shutting Hype House down.
And we got all the stereotypical stuff, you know. We even got an emotional montage showing all the great memories of the Hype House just before it ends forever. And then, lo and behold, it didn't fucking end.
Maybe I shouldn't end it.
Well, that's a bit of an anticlimax. And yeah, that's basically where the series ends. It shows a clip from a Thomas Paytrue video that was uploaded 6 months after they did this filming, talking about how people are starting to move out and whatnot. But that's it. The series just ends and they didn't break up. So if I had to give my final thoughts on the series, I would first of all say it was better than I expected. And to be honest, if you're a big fan of the Hype House in general, I feel like you would really enjoy watching this. It didn't seem to be too overly scripted, bar maybe like a few cutscenes, which to be fair were just kind of of put there to add a bit of structure. And there's a few people in there after watching the series my opinion did change of. I mean, Thomas Petru didn't exactly have the best opinion of him beforehand. I generally think from what I've seen, he seems like a really nice guy throughout this. Alex and Culver as well seem to be a nice couple and seem to be good people. And then on the flip side, there are people on there who I didn't exactly have the best opinion of. I felt like a bunch of people in the hype house were just kind of ungrateful teenagers who had effing handed them so early in life and they know no different. And it also became very apparent that everybody in the series is like severely sad and kind of just proves that maybe this like big LA life isn't all it's cracked up to be. But yeah, it was a decent series. I didn't get too bored throughout it. I didn't hate my life as I was watching it. It was alright. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please do like down below. Let me know what you thought as well, because this is very different to anything I would usually ever do, and this isn't going to be like a regular thing in this channel. But when stuff comes out like this, let me know if you would like to see something similar. But if you did like this video and you are new here, please do subscribe. That would be bloody lovely. And yeah, without further ado, I guess until tomorrow, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.